The finale starts with a flashback to 8 years ago. A woman is given a speech honoring Tony and announcing the opening of the Anthony Ming Center for Entrepreneurship. Jacob is in the crowd when a politician called Hagen sidles up to him, calling the attendees parasites, trying to latch onto the wealthiest person there. Jacob brushes it off, but the man digs deeper, mentioning the lengths it took to get Jacob's name from the dean. Jacob keeps cool, saying he prefers to keep his donations quiet. The politician Hagen pushes for more, hinting Jacob should have had his name on the building instead. The conversation shifts into a subtle negotiation, with Jacob offering to dig up skeletons for leverage, teasing that the real fun is in the bargaining. Fast forward to the previous episode, Jacob tells Peter about Victor Bala being a war criminal held at The Hague. Meanwhile, Rose informs Peter that Marcus and his crew already left with a batch of dangerous canisters, heading for the UN. Victor is shown telling Marcus it's time to act, criticizing the West for hypocrisy while arming their enemies. Rose questions Wilfred about the canisters, and he explains they're rigged to cause mass suffocation if used in HVAC systems. A huge terror attack is in the making. In the present, the NYPD learns that 5 men matching Aiden's description entered the UN earlier, claiming to fix an HVAC issue. Peter, Rose, and Catherine meet Aiden, who wants Rose to monitor the men since she is the only one who can ID Marcus. Catherine, still fuming, scolds Peter for going rogue yet again, but Peter promises to explain everything once they end this. At the UN, Marcus and his team prepare to move the remaining canisters. Marcus hides a canister in a diplomat's bag and shoots one of his own men to disguise himself as UN security. Rose, monitoring security cameras, spots Marcus pretending to be a cop and alerts Aiden. But it's too late. Marcus escapes with the diplomat's bag containing the canister. The police recover 13 canisters, but Rose points out they made 15. Aiden briefs Catherine and Peter, explaining that the canisters are set to release once the power usage hits a certain level, coinciding with the Security Council vote to divide Victor's territory. Units are dispatched to check on Security Council members, while Rose uncovers a lead on Marcus's cousin Thomas through social media. She traces Thomas to a lawyer connected to Victor and learns about a girlfriend, Sloane, who's staying at a nearby hotel. Marcus, meanwhile, is at Sloane's place. He lies about Thomas being safe and insists they need to flee the country. Sloane hesitates, wanting to speak to Thomas first, but Marcus, frustrated, pulls a gun on her. Unbeknownst to her, he already killed Thomas. Peter and Rose arrive at the hotel, and Sloane secretly signals Peter that Marcus is holding her hostage. When she tries to fight back, Marcus grabs her and flees. As Marcus escapes, Rose learns the hotel's AC system is acting up and discovers the last canister hidden there. The technician warns it's wired to go off in about 8 minutes if the power usage isn't stopped. Catherine orders the technician to shut everything down, but the terminal isn't working, so they'll need to manually trigger the fire system to seal the vents. Meanwhile, Peter chases Marcus. They confront each other at gunpoint, with Peter trying to reason with him, pointing out that Victor sacrificed even his own son for his plan. Marcus, unmoved, declares himself a hero for Victor's cause. Before Marcus can act, Peter, with help from Rose, shoots him dead. With just minutes left, Rose and Peter rush to create a controlled fire to shut the HVAC system down and trap the chemical. It works, preventing the deadly weapon from deploying. As the danger passes, the two share a relieved hug, grateful to have stopped the attack in time. Peter tells Rose that he's planning to turn himself in and confess everything to Catherine. He knows it'll likely mean spending the rest of his life in prison, but he asks Rose to promise him something: stop coming after him when he's in trouble. He's worried about her safety because she means everything to him, and as long as she is around, people will use her against him. Rose admits she's tired of running and just wants a normal life, but she can't promise to leave him behind. She cries and Peter hugs her. Later, Catherine thanks Rose for helping stop the attack, and Peter is escorted away, with Rose watching as he is driven off. Peter's next scene is an interrogation. Aiden and Catherine grill him about releasing Solomon Vega, breaking into the UN, stealing sensitive info, and passing it to Vega's contact. They ask him to go over everything from the beginning, and Peter agrees, ready to face the consequences. Meanwhile, Chelsea is now working security for Governor Hagen, a presidential candidate. She searches Jacob before he heads into Hagen's office. Inside, Hagen reflects on their 8 years working together and shares an anecdote about how a pair of boots helped him win an election. The moral: sometimes it's better to let people believe what they want. As Jacob leaves, Hagen thanks him for his loyalty, but Jacob reminds him who's really in charge. Elsewhere, Noor and her mom are granted asylum in the US and receive social security numbers and aid. A government official explains that the checks they're getting are to reimburse them for their losses. Noor is bitter, feeling it's a poor replacement for her brother's life. Rose later catches up with Noor, who says her mom is struggling but starting to eat again. Noor admits it's been tough adjusting. Her degree from back home isn't recognized, so she'll likely have to redo her classes. Rose reassures her that things will get better and offers her support. When Noor asks about Peter, Rose admits she doesn't know where he is and thinks it's better that way. Both women get a notification: Knox has dropped out of the presidential race. Catherine takes Peter for a walk, showing him a newspaper with the headline about Knox withdrawing. She reveals the shocking reason: Knox had been tied to a classified chemical weapons program, Foxglove, and its sale to Victor Bala. The New York Times received an anonymous tip, including audio recordings linking Knox to the program. Peter realizes the intel he stole from the UN likely played a role in exposing Knox. Catherine suspects it was all orchestrated by the broker who used the chaos of the attack to slip someone into the UN and find the smoking gun. Peter pieces it together. This move virtually guarantees Hagen's presidency, aligning with the broker's agenda. Catherine confirms it. An isolationist administration means more demand for an intelligence broker's services. Peter wonders if he unwittingly helped swing a presidential election. Catherine doesn't sugarcoat it. He did. Then Catherine drops a bombshell. Early in her career, she worked a major night action case involving a Pentagon mole. Her investigation led to Peter's father. She reveals that his father became a double agent after being manipulated, partly out of guilt and a desire to atone for his mistakes. Peter, shaken, asks what he can do to make things right. Catherine lays out the mission. There is a strong chance the broker is about to control a sitting president, giving him access to top secret intelligence. She wants Peter to infiltrate the broker's network, gain his trust, and expose him. The broker erased Peter's tracks at the UN, which means he still has plans for him. Peter's job is to play along, figure out the broker's endgame, and take down everyone involved. The stakes are massive. This could go all the way to the Oval Office. Catherine warns him it'll be dangerous and completely off the books, but if he is willing, his slate will be wiped clean. Peter doesn't hesitate. He's in. Catherine tells him to wait for the broker's call, and with that, the season ends.